Okay, to talk more about the battle between corporations versus government and consumers over plastic waste, we're joined by Kari Fulton. She's an award-winning environmental justice advocate. Good to see you again. Let's talk about...
Thank you for having me. How are you?
I am good. I'm good, my friend. California's Attorney General has rolled up his sleeves and going after the oil giant Exxon in a big way. We just heard about that lawsuit that claims for basically half a century, Exxon lied and produced slick ads saying that they were recycling plastics and that was an effective way to deal with a global problem. Where do they stand now?
I think we need to all think about how we use our waste, how we think about products that are not recyclable, and how do we focus in on teaching people how to use products better. And I think oftentimes we have so much miscommunication about recycling, and even the people who have to work in recycling, they know this and they're frustrated about this, and it becomes a hazard on the job because they now have to sift through things that are not recyclable. And so we just have this forever waste. And also beyond that, we also have toxic chemicals that are being produced in communities, and it impacts our health, our well-being. And so if we can take that simple thing of just, changing from a plastic bag, that's one simple solution that goes a really long way.
Yeah, especially those single-use plastic bags. You use the term forever waste. So is this another example of big corporations deceiving the public specifically on hazards to public health? For example, there have been multiple lawsuits against DuPont and other chemical companies for releasing forever chemicals into the air and water, and of course the older lawsuits against big tobacco.
Absolutely. And I think there needs to be more regulations and better consistency of public engagement on these issues. I think oftentimes people get daunted by the fact that these congressional policies take so long. It took so long to even update things like the toxic substances and diseases and how we control these different things. So we don't have time to wait on bureaucracy. We have to think about it on how we use our dollars, and that usually works a little bit faster. And we also see programs where communities and products are changing the way that they do how they manufacture. And we have to look out for greenwashing all the time. And I think the more that communities know what greenwashing looks like and that it exists, the more that we can think about the products that we buy.
Kari, also Exxon has really, really deep pockets, and this could be a very long fight. So let's talk about California's chances of winning civil and other penalties from Exxon. The allegations are serious, saying that plastic pollution can be found at the deepest parts of our oceans and our highest peaks. But Exxon is in essence saying, California, this is your problem. You just do a really lousy job of recycling.
I would say that's hogwash. I think if you put out products and the majority of the products you claim are recyclable, but they're actually not, you're deceiving the people. And then if the community itself is taking that step, the state itself is taking the step of reducing plastic waste. And the lobbyists from these oil companies and from these petrochem companies and also from the plastics companies, they've been going tooth and nail to say, hey, no, we can continue doing this because they don't want to lose their profits and their money. But we have to put people over money and people over plastics.
Okay, it took a long time, but California recently put in place a plastic bag ban. So how much impact is this going to have? Which, by the way, Exxon had been fighting tooth and nail, and the ban is slated to kick in, I believe, sometime in 2026.
I think there's a lot of different things that can happen from that, especially changing and switching here in Baltimore and in the DC area. We try and reduce our plastic waste as well. And that can be a huge difference in the amount of waste that we see in our oceans, that we see in our rivers and in our riverways. And so that's something key, and that's an immediate pollutant that is oftentimes duplicated and magnifies the pollution and also blight in our communities.
Yeah, picking up on that theme about, other areas fighting this, there are strength in numbers. We saw it in the fight against big tobacco and insurance companies that fought paying out after damages following Hurricane Katrina and other natural disasters. It started as one state against a corporate giant, then other states piled on, and eventually that helped turn the tide. Could we see this happen in the fight against Exxon?
I hope so. I really do. I hope that more cities, more states start to think about how this waste has impacted them, how the marketing of these products has overwhelmed our economy, and how it change needs to happen. And I hope that we take that not only to our wallets, but also to the ballot box.